r/AskReddit, nsfw, how attractive do you believe you'd be if you were the opposite sex? Well, considering that I have a nearly identical sister, I do not feel comfortable answering this question. Sadly, just about the same. We have been told numerous times that my sister and I look a lot alike. Seeing how my sister always had a lot of success with the dudes, I'm going to guess pretty hot. As attractive as I am now. Pretty fuckable, I'd say. 4. Drunk 5, but I put out. Very. I have beautiful eyes, nice, and kind of feminine, facial features and beautiful hair. Sadly, I am a guy and short. Not much. But at least having tits would be more appropriate. I've done face app as a woman and everyone I showed said I'd be 10/10ths. Miss World confirmed. 10/10ths because that's what I am right now. I am an unattractive man, so I would most likely also be an unattractive woman. I'm Asian, so I'm just imagining myself with longer hair. I feel like I would be one of those teddy bear guys. Tall, chunky, and bearded, lol. I dunno, you tell me, I guess. 0/10. I'm not attractive now. I definitely wouldn't be attractive as the opposite gender. The same 5/10ths I am now. Lil ugly but a little cute. I'm slender with big dark eyes and long eyelashes. I'd be hot as balls. I just wouldn't have any. As a trans girl, I can say easily I am way fucking hotter than I was before I came out. I'd be a 7/10ths. -1. Well, my niece and daughter all look like my mom. They are beautiful to me, so I guess I'd be at least easy on the eyes. If I was born female, I would have been so fucking sexy, it's not fair. Ever heard the saying, the firstborn daughter always looks like the dad? Well, I look like my dad. And this girl doesn't realize $150 in tips in a night is not average. Edit, I have one sister. I'm transitioning, so I'll let you know once I can pass LMAO. But on a serious note, I don't think it will help much. I got the dreaded weak chin, so my jawline will continue to be non-existent, and my face widely unbalanced, big nose, no chin. But if I manage to grow sufficient facial hair, I might be able to hide the chin problem in a way I now can't. Fortunately, no men on either side of my family are balding, so I don't fear hair loss, not more of it anyway than what I have already inflicted upon myself by years of hair bleaching. I also don't even break 170 centimeters, growth plates fused post-estrogen fueled puberty, so I'm out of luck on that one, and am a little chubby, so. With my hair as it is and some facial hair to add, I'm giving it 5/10ths. But I was never a hot woman even before I came out, so it's fine. I'm a goth, so I'm a hit with the really weird queers, it's fine. I don't know. I'm like a 5 now. I'm sure that would remain the same. My brothers are the best looking out of all of us. So I think I would fare better as a guy than as a mini version of my mother. Shrek in a wig. I look like a male version of my mother. I only need to look at her old pictures. Not bad, really. I would make a very ugly woman. Thing is, I would probably be a super slut, so would have fun. Less. I have unreasonably large tits, and I am a little curvy in the right places, but overall fairly slim. While that gets me some attention as a woman, it wouldn't translate well to a male physique. Probably average. Much more. And I ain't doing bad now. My mother said I was so ugly as a child that she would strap me to a chair in the corner and feed me Brussels sprouts with a slingshot. Am I still bald? I don't even know if I'm attractive now. Probably not very, but I'd be a big ol' whore. Oh, I'd be a sexy hairy girl. I'm an Asian guy, so my attractiveness will probably go up by a lot. 6 feet 4 inches defensive end female? Well, there are certainly guys out there. 7/10. My features are really masculine. As a girl I look kinda meh, but I think I'd do a bit better as a guy. Pretty ugly emo. Imagine a 6 feet woman with a 220-pound weightlifter physique and a beard. Not too sexy, I'd say. Considering I transitioned to female and apparently people find me attractive, I'd say that answers the question. I think I'd be considered unattractive if I hadn't transitioned though, 'cause I'm very short. I'd probably be an incel or something. I'd be giving men erections everywhere I go. Ew. I'm a hair shy of 6 feet, and I've got one of those faces where everyone just automatically assumes I'm creepy without ever even trying to speak to me to find out. Guessing that makes me like a 2 or 3. So even if I were gender swapped, I'd probably still be around the same score, 2/10 or 3/10. I have been called beautiful by too many women to count, so I'd hope I'd also make a pretty woman, lol. Normally like a 4. But when I run at my wife doing a helicopter wang dance, I'm like high 9s. Easy. Having transitioned, I'm definitely more attractive now. Probably still a 3 or 4, but unlike us dudes, a girl who is a 3 or 4 will still get attention. Not very. I'm fat buff, so if I was a woman I'd probably just mostly be fat. Still 0%? 0/10. One time I dressed up a woman for Halloween. I was being hit on by men even after I told them I was a man. My crooked jaw is only hidden by my red beard. Not sure what I'd do as a woman to conceal this, lol. I put the theory to the test and it turns out that I look almost exactly like my mother when she was my age. Extremely. I'm handsome, but shy, and autistic, which pretty much cancels out any benefit. I don't know how to make a move, flirt, or tell when a woman likes me, unless it's very obvious, so I don't see a lot of action. Autistic women I've talked to with similar personalities to me get a lot of attention since they aren't expected to initiate. My sisters are ugly trolls. I'm hot though. Thanks to Snapchat filters and being a carbon, female, copy of my dad as a young man. It makes me very uncomfortable to say I'd be way hotter than I am as a woman. I am not an attractive woman. I really find my gender swap attractive. If I were to retain my 6 feet 5 inches height, it would be cherry on top. My bone structure is already rather female. I get called hot by girls, but never handsome, and have strong hair growth on my head, not really that much elsewhere. So I guess, I'd be a pretty girl. If I thought the way I do as a male, I'd be a total slut. I think I'd be like an 8 or so by typical standards. It would be amusing being on average 9 inches taller than any other girl though. And 5 inches taller than most guys. Considering most of my female relatives are models and always have guys pawing after them, probably pretty attractive. I'm okay as a guy, but I'm hot as a girl. My college had gender flip dances frequently, and at that time I was 5'10" and 145 pounds, with thick spiral curls down to a 28 waist. Girls frequently referred to me as a pretty boy in college, which was funny because high school girls treated me like shit. After a feminine makeover, dear God, my girlfriend could not contain herself. Guys would be like, "All right, yo, you make a pretty girl." Nice. But girls became downright lecherous, leering, groping, grinning, super horny freaks. I don't understand it, but women of all sexual persuasions found me incredibly attractive as a woman. I don't know if any dudes wanted to bang me, but tons of women absolutely did. I would not be attractive at all. I'm short and pretty petite due to my metabolism, so I'd just be a short and skinny man. Apparently ginger ladies are sought after. Hopefully, not very attractive, as I have no interest in being in a relationship. I'm perfectly happy being a single woman, and if I was a dude, I'd still be perfectly happy being single. I'd be a dumpster fire. I have quite characterful features, a Roman kind of nose, large jaw, broad-shouldered, reasonably handsome in man terms I guess, but as a woman I'd be quite upsetting, intimidating, and probably named Helga. A little less attractive. I'm very hairy and have big ears. I think that would be more problematic if I were a woman. I don't expect the female version of me to be as hairy but still above average, but I'm also short and have a big butt, which would be a plus, I guess. I think I would have to go to the gym more, so maybe a little more but not much. I'm a fugly guy, no way would I be even remotely attractive as a woman. Man shrugging. If I could switch now with my previous experience and knowledge of being female? Yeah, I could make myself hot as shit. Oh boy, this thread came at a fun time. I came out as gender fluid around this time last year after thinking I was trans, and I ask myself this every day. The general consensus I have is, I think I would be attractive by my own terms, but I'd be more so if my gender identity struggle had happened a few years sooner and I was able to possibly get HRT instead of not. Story time. About a year ago I started thinking I might be a trans woman, because I had many mental tendencies which just kinda seemed off. Small unassuming things, such as being very into women's fashion and makeup, beauty, cosmetics, but only from a distance. I never deigned to, however. I play every single video game as a woman, and not for eye candy but for fantastical immersion. I even had many dreams about swapping genders and woke up feeling exhilarated. Yet I never allowed myself the ability to entertain the idea of possibly being in some way queer. I was 100% certain I am a straight male, nothing more, and that these thoughts and feelings were a delusional sick fantasy. Before I go on, it's worth noting that I never have been, in my adult life, anything but an ally. Around 60% of my friends are gay, queer, or otherwise LGBT, and some older friends are trans. This self-condemnation was purely coming from a place of imposter syndrome and self-distrust. So anyway, I mentioned these thoughts on a whim to some friends, and we briefly spoke about it a couple times in a positive light. I didn't really entertain it much beyond that point at first, but I mentioned it again later on, and the right friend heard. She told me there's nothing wrong with those thoughts, and that I could be hurting myself by repressing them, which, obviously, makes total sense. So I spoke to my partner about it. I'd mentioned it to her in the past, and she said I could look at pursuing gender-affirming behavior in small amounts to see how I feel, getting some clothes and trying makeup for instance. I put together an order of clothes, and started taking little steps. I shaved my legs first, then painted my nails. I bought a skirt, some heels, and then tried makeup. This was all in the space of 2 days. It was around this time I felt the overwhelming rush of emotions. Total affirmation and validation, and raging hard imposter syndrome. This nagging part of me was telling myself that this was me just taking this weird fantasy too far and that my actions are insulting real trans folk. I started voicing these nagging parts to other people and telling them that's what I heard in the back of my mind. The support I got nearly made me cry. I'll skip over the next bits because I've already drafted War and Peace here, but essentially the more I ventured in, the more comfortable I became. I hit a point where I was concerned about losing my identity that I'd built amongst the little masculinity I'd mustered as a 5 feet 5 inches guy whose only stereotypical manly trait is his facial hair and taste in clothes. I switched my approach and very happily came upon accepting my identity as a gender-fluid person, and that at the end of the day imposter syndrome can mean fuck all in the grand scheme of things, because it doesn't matter what others think as long as I'm happy in my own identity. I'm in the process now of seeking assistance, privately, as the NHS currently doesn't care about us, and potentially HRT, but this question made me want to share my experience. Anyway, to cut a proper answer to this question, I think I'd be real hot as the gender opposite to the one assigned at my birth, smiling face with sunglasses. Do I get to keep my huge ass? If so, yes. I used to be the opposite sex. I was a pretty good looking guy, but I'm also a pretty decent looking woman too. Somewhere between female Shrek and Andre the Giant. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.